Good morning, everybody. Pastor Stitch, Narrow Path Christian Church, BC, Bay City, Michigan. Welcome to the Biker Devotional. So this morning I'm sitting here and I'm just thinking about what it was like at the beginning of recovery compared to what it is like with years of recovery under your belt. And how is it that someone with years of recovery can land in a position where they're about ready to fall down, and then something will snap them out of it just like that. Whereas the person brand new in recovery, that same experience would have no impact in their lives at all. And as I was thinking about that, I got to thinking about another thing that's often said at the beginning of people's recovery. You know, they often will talk about how empowered they were to hustle to get whatever they needed so they'd have the finances to go buy their drug or their alcohol, or, get whatever done they had to get done so they could go do their partying or whatever it was. And they called it hustle. And why can't I get that hustle in my everyday life so I can experience real prosperity? And it comes down to this. You're not hustling for the money, you're hustling for your God. You're hustling and you're subservient to your God, and you'll do whatever it takes to please your God. Now, I know that's really hard to hear, but that's the truth. Whether it's food, gambling, sex, drugs, alcohol, making somebody else like you, I don't care what it is. You hustle so hard to please your God, to get that sense of accomplishment from your God. And the difference is the hustle to please your God, you get an end game. When you hustle for money, you're not getting some endorphin rush out of it or some chemical thing in your brain out of it, it feels empty. That's why a lot of people will go from gambling to spending sprees, because they're trying to get that rush, right? But the reality is, the reason that people that have years, they're hustling just as hard. They've learned to hustle in a smarter way, and they're doing it to please their God. And one of the best ways to please God is to pay attention to those things that He puts in the way, those hurdles that you would normally have jumped to get to your God. He puts those there, and you're recognizing that He's doing it. And so your goal is to please Him, and so instead of jumping it, you let it detour you around it. Yesterday was a perfect example of that. I had stopped over to the party store across the street from the church to get a 32-ounce soda. I was thirsty, and I was tired. I needed the caffeine. And normally I can just walk in, get it, walk up to the counter, pay for it, and walk out. The fact that the liquor is everywhere and all of that isn't even in my mind. But yesterday I was tired, and someone in front of me was buying a lot of stuff. They were taking their time, and every time they'd pay for something, I need this too, and they'd get it, and they'd have to ring that up, and they'd have to pay for that. And I'm sitting there, and I'm kind of zoned out. And I noticed on one of the shelves near me, there was ginger beer. Never had it before. I'm tired, and my brain's going, I wonder what that tastes like. I like ginger ale. I wonder if it tastes like ginger ale. Beer, ale, and it's not a thing. I'm not thinking about drinking alcohol. I'm just, thinking in my head, right? And I'm zoned out. And somebody came in the door and said, "Hey, Pastor Stitch, how you doing?" And I didn't catch it right away because I'm in a zoned out mode, And they said, "You tired?" I said, "Yeah, kinda." and it kind of snapped me out of the ginger beer thing, right? But then I'm standing there waiting and still wondering, ginger beer, what is that, you know? And I know me from my past. I would have walked up with my pop, set it down. It was right there. I could have grabbed it, set it down on the counter, and said, I'll try this too. Paid for it and walked out the door. Now, I wouldn't have drank that beer. No way. I know I would have thrown it away as soon as I got outside and said, what the heck are you doing, Jay? You know? But the reality was I was in a zone, and I could have easily fallen. And the truth of the matter is, God knew that. And so had I been able to walk up to the counter and paid for my pop, I might have. I don't know if I would have. I mean, I was starting to come around, but there was still a chance I might have bought that. God put the next hurdle in the way. The guy in front of me paid for my pop. Felt bad for making me wait. Paid for my pop. And so I didn't even walk up to the counter. And God steered me around the struggle. He puts those hurdles in place. In my past, I would have jumped right over that hurdle and bought that beer anyway. It wouldn't have even occurred to me that there was a hurdle there or a detour there. I would have just kept going. I would have thought, I didn't have to pay for my pop. Now I got the money for the beer. That's the way my brain would have worked. The only difference between me back then and me today is who I choose to hustle for. I choose to hustle for God every day. It's a choice that I make when I wake up in the morning, and a choice I make every minute of every day. Do I do it perfectly? No. Do I make it a habit? Yes. So the difference really comes down to, and how do you recognize those hurdles, those detours that God puts in your in your face, instead of running through them or jumping over them? Wake up every morning, choose God. The more you do it, the more likely you are to recognize the hurdles, recognize the detours. That's my advice for today. I love y'all. I hope you have a great day. God bless.